Hey, friends, we have another website question. This one comes in from Larry. First of all, Larry, thank you for always coming out to Nonprofit Website Office Hours and for submitting this question. This one actually came in through office hours. The question here is SEO wants lots of words, but I think users want fewer words. Any thoughts? I do have thoughts. This is a great question. And I totally understand the tension you're talking about here between wanting to essentially write for robots, right? Write for these search engine crawlers that throw them through an algorithm and we want to show up in those search results, and writing for actual visitors. Um, I think sometimes we view these things as being more distinct than they actually are. I actually think there's a lot more overlap than um, we sometimes give sort of credit for. I will say, I think we are coming from a really good place with thinking about what visitors want on your website, right? We've seen these pages that are clearly written for search engines. They just are stuffed full of keywords. They have just blocks of text. No one's going to read those, right? That's not written for a human, an actual reader. The nice thing, though, is search engines actually, the goal of a search engine is to return the most helpful content that's going to help whoever is sitting there typing a query into their search engine. So in that way, the goals are actually the same, right? We want to provide the most helpful, authoritative content and comprehensive content on the internet for whatever we're trying to rank for. Um, that said, writing for a visitor is going to be a little different in terms of what you actually need to do. So what I always recommend is start with your reader in mind. Start with your actual visitor. It's not necessarily that visitors want fewer words, in my opinion. It's that they want you to get to the point more quickly. They want you to really clearly and quickly articulate the answer to whatever question they have. Now, my goal when I create content that I want to rank well for search is to create the best resource for that particular topic on the internet. And generally speaking, that is going to be fairly comprehensive, but we want to sort of flip the way that we think about creating content. And instead of leading with a bunch of background, a bunch of context, a bunch of like a long intro, get right to the point. Jump right into whatever your thesis is or whatever sort of question you're trying to address with that particular page. And then have additional context, have additional background information that's going to be that really keyword rich language that is going to help your visitors, but also be a lot for a search engine crawler to engage with. And the other thing that's going to be really important is to use headings really thoughtfully and break your content up in a way that is going to be really readable for visitors, but also really engaging to those search engine crawlers. So, really thoughtful headings, lots of line breaks, plenty of sort of white space to give readers a break that you don't want them to just see that big block of text. Also, being thoughtful about the images that you sort of sprinkle into the page that can help sort of take whatever topic you're writing about further, but also be that sort of break from reading just a giant wall of text can also be really nice and potentially, honestly, give you opportunities to rank for image searches or things like that. So, again, I don't think these things are as distinct as we sometimes think they are, but I do think we need to be more thoughtful about the content that we lead with. Just getting right to the point and then giving a bunch of background beyond that for people that want to read more. Frequently asked questions can also be really nice, both for visitors and for search engines. So if you think not only what's the question that I'm addressing with this page, but what are the likely follow-up questions that people are going to have? Like what comes next in people's mind? That can be not only really nice language to include on the page, really nice content to include on the page, but it can also help you rank for, you've probably seen these in Google search results, those featured snippets, or potentially even start incorporating or finding their way into some of those AI overviews that Google is experimenting with and then removing, and still sort of TBD on how that works. But my sense is that focusing on those frequently asked questions could be beneficial for search engines, and we know it's certainly beneficial for users if you look at actual engagement data with website pages. So I hope that's helpful, Larry. I hope that sort of reframes maybe how we think about this and meeting visitors where they're at, while still providing really keyword-rich language for search engine crawlers to engage with as well. If you have any other questions about SEO or related questions or unrelated questions about your website, drop them in the comments and maybe they'll find their way into a future video. Thanks, friends.